Trump threatened to wipe out an entire civilization yesterday, and then less than 2 hours before his own deadline, agreed to a 2 week ceasefire. Here's what the next 2 weeks could look like. It's the 8th of April. I'm Abby Soye, and welcome to your daily briefing. One story a day worth your headspace. So, the US and Iran have agreed to a 2 week ceasefire, struck barely 2 hours before Trump's deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz or face devastating military strikes. Iran submitted a 10-point peace plan to the White House via Pakistani intermediaries. In a post on Truth Social, Trump called it a workable basis on which to negotiate and agreed to suspend military action for 2 weeks. Both sides are expected to sit down for formal talks in Islamabad this Friday. My first thought was, why is Pakistan involved? Well, Pakistan shares a 900-kilometer border with Iran and relies on the Strait of Hormuz for most of its oil imports. Pakistan's Army Chief Field Marshal maintained direct contact with both sides. Now let's get to Iran's 10-point peace plan. Before this conflict, the Strait of Hormuz was what we call international waters, meaning any ship from any country could pass through freely without asking permission or paying anyone. Iran's 10-point plan wants to change that. It's calling for the lifting of all US sanctions, a full military withdrawal from the region, and crucially, Iran taking formal control of the strait, with reports suggesting that Iran wants to charge ships up to $2 million per vessel to pass through. Roughly 20% of the world's oil passes through the waterway. If Iran becomes the gatekeeper, every country that imports oil through the strait pays whatever Iran decides. Those demands are what sits on the table when both sides meet on Friday. Iran state media reported that the first ship has passed through the Strait of Hormuz since the ceasefire, with Iran's permission. But a German shipping giant has said it will not be sending vessels through the Strait of Hormuz yet. And with only a 2 week ceasefire on the table and no clarity on what comes after, it's not hard to see why. Okay, so what does this 2 week ceasefire mean for oil prices? For UK drivers, the RAC has said any fall in oil prices takes time to feed through to the forecourt. And the US Energy Information Administration says oil production won't return to pre-conflict levels until late 2026. So while the direction is positive, the timeline for relief at the pump remains uncertain. On the US military position, speaking alongside Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Joint Chiefs of Staff Air Force General Dan Kane said that the US had met its military objectives in Iran, but maintains ready to resume combat if needed. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he supports the US-Iran ceasefire, but that it does not cover Lebanon. Lebanon was drawn into the conflict when Iranian-backed Hezbollah began launching rockets at Israel in support of Iran, and Israel has been striking back ever since. Israel's position is contrary to Pakistan, who said that the ceasefire deal does include Lebanon. The wider picture is still volatile. Missiles were fired towards Gulf states hours after the ceasefire was announced. And today, Trump posted on Truth Social, a country supplying military weapons to Iran will be immediately tariffed on any and all goods sold to the United States of America at 50%, effective immediately. According to data from the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, Russia supplied 100% of Iran's imported arms between 2021 and 2025. So, Friday's talks between the US and Iranian delegations in Islamabad will tell us whether this is the beginning of something or just a pause before the next escalation. I'll see you tomorrow.